let's take it real slow. You know we got what you need, baby, so take it, move along. I said we got what you need, honey, come and groove along. Come on. Rolling on the highway and the beat up. Wow! Come on.
everybody.
Good morning.
Welcome to Jubilee Circle. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being out there
Happy
on
Mom's
the television.
Day.
And happy Mother's Day. Indeed, I always say my usual is Happy Mother's Day if you are one, if you have one, or if you ever been called one. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mom. And if you're an aunt or anybody else.
All right, here we go.
Grandmother.
So welcome. If you would like a bulletin, you can go online to jubileecircle.com, or there's a link in the description of the YouTube. And if you're in the room, you can get one back there on the round table. So good morning. We ready? 2, 3.
Thanks, Bob.
Go. Closer than breath, you are the air, sweeter than life itself, you are here. I am a wanderer, you are my peace. I am a prisoner, you are release. I love that song. Jai Guru Dev means victory to the greatness in you. And we're going to talk a little bit about that as we go forward this morning. So welcome, everyone. We appreciate you being here. And this is still just a little bit ringy. So I'm going to make it. That may be a little bit better. All right. Okay. So good morning. Welcome to Jubilee Circle. Happy Mother's Day. Thank you so much for being here. And we're continuing our VIA Creativa theme of practicing resurrection, because A Course in Miracles tells us the resurrection demonstrated that nothing can destroy truth. So in this VIA, we're learning the art of practicing resurrection in our daily life. And that just means living in ways that demonstrate that we understand nothing can destroy the truth of us. We are created in love and peace and joy, and we always are striving to live into that truth every day. So, happy Mother's Day. As I said, if you are one, have one, or have been called one, we honor you on this day. Yeah, everybody gets there. It was my own wonderful mother who taught me to always treat others, especially my elders, with respect. And now I'm becoming an elder. Anyway, right. But I learned early on how to say yes, ma'am, or no, sir, yes, sir, no, ma'am, all that. Please, thank you. I was also taught to say I'm sorry when I messed up, and to take responsibility for my own actions. But, those ideas, they seem a little bit old-fashioned and quaint these days, don't they? And this is how I know I'm becoming an elder, because it seems like everybody gets rude, or else it's just me going, get off my lawn. But it seems that rudeness and disrespect are just the behaviors that we're seeing these days, just modeled from the top on down. What has gone awry, in my humble opinion, is that we have forgotten one thing, and that is the inestimable worth of every human being, including ourselves and those we don't like very much at all. There are lots of books out there that tell us how worthy we are, including A Course in Miracles, but we don't believe it because we have this egoic, nattering nabob of negativity in the back of our minds that constantly tells us that we're not good enough, we're not smart enough, and nobody really likes us very much. So today, we're going to learn to practice the resurrection of worthiness. And we're going to use the TV character Ted Lasso as our model this morning, for all of you Ted Lasso fans. But once we can see the world like Ted Lasso does, seeing the worth of everyone and seeing that everyone is worthy of love and honor and support, then all we'll know how to say is, oh yeah. Please rise as you're able. And we're going to do things a little bit differently this morning in our 4 directions, but we'll get to that in a minute. But as we do every Sunday, we remember the elements, the fire and the earth and the water and the air, and we burn sage as a reminder that this is a safe and a sacred time, and a time to set our intentions, not just for ourselves, but for the world, and to set an intention of love and peace and joy, that we will be that in every part of our daily lives. Okay, so we call the 4 directions to center ourselves in this sacred time and space. So I invite you to turn to the east, and we're going to do things a little bit differently this morning. We're going to try a body prayer that was created in the 14th century back by Christian mystic Julian of Norwich. So y'all follow me in doing this. So as we face the east, I want you to place your hands at your waist. Just bend your hands at your waist right here, cupped in a posture with open hands, open to receive. And in this moment, we become aware of God's presence, however we may realize it. God is ever present in the rising sun, the spring breeze, the smile of a stranger, the touch of a loved one. And in this stance, we remain open. We await our recognition of the holy in, through, around, and among us. Quarter turn to the right. We face the west, and as we do, I invite you to bring your hands over your heart. We're facing the south, sorry. Reach your hands upward with your hands open. In this position, we allow a sense of God's presence to be what it is. Whether we just get an inkling of that presence or it washes over us completely, just allow it to be what it is. Give thanks for this holy instant. Quarter turn to the right, we face the west, and as we do now, I invite you to bring your hands over your heart. cup them towards the body. And in this position, we accept as a gift whatever sense of presence comes or does not come. We accept that we don't know everything since we're not in charge. So in this moment, we know that our only choice in life is either to live in fear or to live in love. Quarter turn to the right and we face the north, and as you do so, stretch your hands out in front of you. Like the Frankenstein monster I saw last night in Young Frankenstein. Go see it, man. It's great. So stretch your hands out, or you're like a zombie. I want you in this position. Attend to what you are called to. Be willing to be present and be God's love in the world, however God calls you to do that. And as we turn back toward the center, I invite you to breathe deeply and enter this present moment. Leave behind all of your concerns about what might have happened before this present moment. Leave behind all your concerns about what's going to happen when we leave this place. I just invite you to be here now, to await that sense of holy presence, to allow it to fill you and accept your role as the light of the world and attending to the ways that God calls you to express that. Because when we are attuned to the presence of the holy in, through, and around us, then all we know what to say is, oh yeah, all right. Remain standing. We're going to open up this morning with a little Keb Mo.
This is where you greet people and dance around.
If you have never heard this song, we used to sing it fairly regularly, but now it's back in our regular rotation because everybody likes this groove. So I invite you during this song, greet one another. 2, you ready? 2, 3, 4. Brothers and sisters, I need to talk to you. This might sound right, y'all are incredible. So welcome everybody. Welcome all you incredible people. Marvelous, wonderful, beautiful. Welcome to those who might be visiting. No visitors. Okay. To those who are returning, we're so glad that you are here. We are an inclusive, progressive interfaith community in Columbia, South Carolina. We teach the timeless common wisdom of love and unity that you find in mainstream religions, metaphysical philosophies, mysticism, inspired secular and religious writers and teachers throughout the ages. We use popular music, teachings, weekly celebrations, educational, artistic, musical events, other community building activities. We're trying to make this a space for everyone to experience transformation so then they can go out and be that transformation in the world. And we believe we're here to expand our souls, to find a deeper meaning in life, to renew our commitment to love and peace and justice, learn how to love wastefully, and undergo a transformation from the inside out so complete that we live every moment possible in that higher divine self. But we recognize we're all part of God's good creation too. We're formed in love and in joy, but also stardust. But we forget that. We show up in the world and we look around and we see all of these people over here, and then the judging starts. Those people are beautiful. Those people are ugly. Those people are good. Those people are bad. Those people are very generous. Those people are stingy. Those people are loving. And those people just so
Intransigent.
Intransigent. Grody.
Intransigent. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But outside of the thesaurus, let us remember our function here. Jubilance. It is to remember that we have never lost our home. We are all still in the mind of God, just asleep in this world thinking that we're separate. And we are here to awaken and become that open channel for love, and just to extend that to everyone we meet. So everyone gets to say, oh yeah. All right. Hear these wise and holy words. All right. From A Course in Miracles, chapter 7. One child of God is the only teacher sufficiently worthy to teach another. One teacher is all in your minds, and that teacher teaches the same lesson to all. God always teaches you the inestimable worth of every child of God, teaching it with an infinite patience born of the infinite love of God for whom the Spirit speaks. Every attack is a call for God's patience, because only God's patience can translate attack into blessing. Those who attack do not know they are blessed. They attack because they believe they are deprived. Give therefore of your abundance and teach them theirs. Do not share their delusion of scarcity, or you will perceive yourself as lacking. And from chapter 20 in A Course in Miracles, it's impossible to overestimate your holy siblings' value. Only the ego does this, but all it means is that what it offers the other for itself, and therefore values them too little. What is inestimable, clearly cannot be evaluated. Do you recognize the fear that arises from the meaningless attempt to judge what lies so far beyond your judgment you cannot even see it? Judge not what is invisible to you, or you will never see it, but wait in patience for its coming. It will be given to you to see your holy siblings' worth when all you want for them is peace. And what you want for them, you will receive. And from author Henri Nouwen, take this as a koan. I am the glory of God. Make that thought the center of your meditation so that it slowly becomes not only a thought, but a living reality. You are the place where God chose to dwell, and the spiritual life is nothing more or less than to allow that space to exist where God can dwell, to create the space where God's glory can manifest itself. In your meditation, you can ask yourself, where is the glory of God? If the glory of God is not there, where am I? Where I am, where else can it be? These are wise and holy words. Thanks be to the holy. All creation is holy word. All creation speaks volumes of the holy. Hallelujah. Let's stand and do a little singing. Everybody knows this one by now, I hope. Sing a little I release. I release and I let go. I let the spirit of my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for the guide. No more struggle, no more strife. stick the landing, but y'all may be seated. I know, we were going a little too slow. All right, the band may be excused unless you just want to stay up here. Unless you just want to sit on stage for the next 20 minutes. You may. Anyone who wants to stay up here and look pretty, like Pax. Hey, everybody, breathe deeply. In band practice, we have a saying. Instead of giving constructive feedback to one another, we go, "It sucks. That sucks. Do it again." So that's what we say to one another. That's how we treat each other. Well, yes, we don't. Yeah, we do. Right. It's not personal. It's just that sucked. Do it again. But I am late to the party when it comes to watching the Apple TV show Ted Lasso. Beth and I have been so successful in our binging over the past few weeks that we're already up to the most current episode. It took a while, but yeah. Well, we're trying to find another binge-worthy show, or just stick to our favorite, which is baking shows, while we wait for new episodes. And, Beth's on keto, so it's almost like watching, baking shows are like food porn, right? It's like, you can't have it, but it looks so good. So how many people have seen Ted Lasso? How many people are watching Ted Lasso? You're okay, well, if you're not familiar with the show, it's about a U.S. football coach named Ted Lasso who is hired to coach a British soccer team. And he knows absolutely zero about soccer. And it's revealed in the first few episodes that the owner of the team hired him for that specific reason, because she wants him to tank the team, because she won the team in a divorce, and she knows that if she killed off the team, it would be one of the best ways to hurt her ex-husband. So I have read many, many articles that analyze Ted Lasso's character, everything from how he's a paragon of servant leadership to how he serves as a so-called holy fool, which according to the Orthodox Christian tradition is someone who feigns insanity, pretends to be silly, or provokes shock or outrage by their deliberate unruliness. I like this characterization of Ted Lasso because if you watch the show, Ted's ability to both delight and anger people through his deliberate unruliness is what makes him such a great role model if we too aspire to become a holy fool. As Tish Harrison Warren writes in a recent New York Times article, the holy fool is a person who flouts social conventions to demonstrate allegiance to God. Holy fools dwell in ordinary secular life, but they approach it with completely different values. Rejecting respectability and embracing humility and love, holy fools are so profoundly out of step with the broader world that they appear to be ridiculous or even insane and often invite ridicule. And yet, she writes, they teach the rest of us how to live. And this jubilance is exactly what A Course in Miracles calls us to be in the world, holy fools whose only allegiance is to God. And that's guaranteed to put you out of step with the broader world. Those of us who are determined to lead with God's love, shining that divine light within us out into the world, we appear to be kind of ridiculous, sometimes even insane. We're often ridiculed as being Pollyanna-ish or practicing some form of toxic positivity. For those of us, though, who may aspire to be that Ted Lasso brand of holy fool, though, we know better. We know that the truly foolish life is the one that's lived in the egoic world of competition and comparison and division and tribalism and, well, of course, egotism. It's all around us. So what does it look like to be a Lasso-style holy fool? Well, our reading from A Course in Miracles lays it out pretty clearly. We become holy fools when we listen to the one teacher, that's capitalized, the one and the teacher are capitalized, the one teacher who wants us to learn just one thing, the inestimable worth of every child of God. Now, if we're sort of like the lawyer when Jesus said, love your neighbor as yourself, And the lawyer back there went, well, who's my neighbor? So the lawyer in us goes, so who's the child of God? The inestimable worth of every child of God. So who's our neighbor? Who's the child of God? Well, everybody you see, including the person in the mirror. It also includes everybody you don't see, everybody you think about, everybody you don't think about, everybody you love, everyone you disregard, and maybe especially everyone you hate. We can clearly see how this works in the world if we take a moment to study what's called the Lasso way. Simply put, Ted sees the inestimable worth of everyone, from his boss, whom he bakes biscuits, that's what the British call cookies, but he bakes biscuits for her every morning for Biscuits with the Boss, all the way down to the locker room attendant, or what's known as the kit man, who is widely ignored by everyone. Initially, people are not quite sure about how to take Ted's chipper attitude and loving disregard of anyone who finds his nature off-putting. His first press conference, it's pretty brutal as the press grills him about his ignorance of the game that he's out there coaching. Over time, though, Ted begins to win over pretty much everybody by simply persisting in seeing everyone as having inestimable worth. In that persistence, he helped star team members tamp down their own egos and start to collaborate with their team members. He forgave his boss for the manipulative reason for why she hired him, and then helped her to actually begin to care more about the team's success than sticking it to her ex-husband. In addition, he eventually discovered a strategy that helped the team begin to win again after being relegated to a lower division during its first season. This is the effectiveness of a holy fool. As we go against the conventions of the egoic world and eschew competition, comparison, and division, we hold space for others to touch their own holy fool. And when they do that, they will be able to tune into the voice of that one divine teacher that wants to show us how to practice the resurrection of worthiness by only seeing the inestimable worth of everyone we encounter. No matter who Ted Lasso meets, whether they're mean, manipulative, meek, malicious, or merry, he treats them all the same. They always have his full attention. He's always present to them and their needs in that moment. Even when Ted is being personally attacked, he still refuses to attack back, even if his feelings are hurt. We see this dynamic between Ted and the locker room attendant in the first season. Nate Shelley is the kit man, which means he tends to the locker room. He washes all the uniforms and the towels, keeps all the shoes and equipment in top shape. It's a lowly job and one that's barely recognized by anyone, especially those in leadership. And Nate was shocked on his first meeting with Ted that Ted wanted to know his name. He said no one had ever asked him his name before, especially not the coach. But through their relationship, Nate develops this sense of confidence and self-worth. And it turns out Nate is a strategic genius in soccer. And so Ted nurtures this talent, and eventually Nate is no longer the kit man. He's made an assistant coach. And this is where ego rears its ugly head, because Nate lets that success and his newfound confidence go right to his head. After one of his strategies resulted in a spectacular win for the team, he was lauded in the press as the wonder kid, and his ego is off to the races. He's checking his social media, and he's just scrolling through how wonderful Nate is, how great he is. In one episode, this is all just puffed his ego up so big, he accuses Ted of not appreciating him enough and says some very hurtful things to Ted. And you can see just on the look on Ted's face that he's injured by this, but he never says a word. He doesn't argue back. He doesn't retaliate. And eventually, Nate is named as the head coach of a rival team owned by the ex-husband of Ted's boss. Nate's ego has gotten him there. But it becomes obvious that he misses Ted. He misses that nurturing leadership style. And he even tries to replicate it with some of his own staff with some fairly dismal results. But Nate goes out into the press and he takes these open pot shots against Ted. But Ted understands one of the course's best One-liners. In my defenselessness, my safety lies. Ted refuses to attack Nate. When the press asks what he thinks about Nate, he refuses to say a bad word, publicly or privately. Instead, in one press conference, Ted made a lot of self-deprecating jokes instead of returning attack for Nate's attacks on him. All Ted wants for Nate is for him to be happy and to be at peace with his life. It's what he wants for everyone. As our reading from A Course tells us, this is the key to seeing everyone as being of inestimable worth. It reads, "It will be given you to see your holy siblings' worth when all you want for them is peace, and what you want for them, you will receive." Peace is truly what Ted Lasso wants, not just for everyone, but for himself too. And this, I believe, is the true genius of the show, because out in the world, you see Ted fulfilling that holy fool role, but when he's alone with himself, though, he acts like most of us do. He doubts his own worth, mainly because he's going through a divorce. He's living halfway around the world from his young son. And in those moments alone, Ted wrestles with his own demons that try to keep him in his egoic littleness. So much so he calls himself a work in progress. I think that's something we all should adopt. I'm a work in progress. But even in his own pain, Ted still seeks to act in the most loving ways to those around him, though he struggles to love himself just as much. This, I think, is the deepest lesson that Ted Lasso can teach on worth. We tend to look out into the world, and we see some people as good and others as recalcitrant, transigent. And when we see those recalcitrant people, we do what our society and our religions have taught us to do. We see ourselves in them. We think, well, everybody's got a recalcitrant streak, so I must have it too. That's the byproduct of believing in original sin. Original sin teaches us our original unworthiness. And so we think, like Ted, the only way to overcome this is to act outwardly good and peaceful as a mask for the unworthiness we feel inside. When we get alone, though, the doubts come up. We think the way out is to try to convince ourselves that we're good, that we're the light of the world, and then we can be that in the world. But A Course says that's backwards. If we truly want to see the good in ourselves, to experience our own inherent, inestimable worth, we must first see that in others. The overall principle holds that what we perceive in others is true about ourselves, but we're called to shift our perception from seeing others as recalcitrant to seeing them as originally blessed, as innocent, beloved children of God. And when we see only that blessing and innocence in the people we see around us or think about or hear about, then and only then will we begin to believe that we too are of inestimable worth. So what does this look like in practice? Well, Ted Lasso knows it means meeting people where they are, not wishing that they were where you want them to be. It means treating them as worthy of your deepest love and reverence. Again, Walmart can be your cathedral if you so choose, because it's a great place to go and practice seeing the inestimable worth of everyone by seeing them through the eyes of the holy. Through those eyes, all you see are holy siblings buying toilet paper and bananas and eggs and other items. They're walking around disguised as regular human beings with all their shortcomings and their doubts and their fears and their worldviews, each one just trying to figure out why they're here and how best to find what we all want: love, joy, peace, security, a sense of purpose for all this. You jubilants are here to help them find all of that. And as you help your holy siblings see the light that shines within them, then you will begin to clearly see, feel, and know your own holy light. A Course says that what we do for others, we will also receive. We cannot find ourselves by ourselves. We need the help of our holy siblings. And so Ted begins to learn this lesson when his boss brings in a psychologist for the team. And even though he poo-poos it originally, he begins some therapy sessions to start to understand his own demons, which are causing panic attacks. It's interfering with his job. The therapist herself is kind of standoffish to Ted, chalks up his chipper attitude to something he uses to hide his own pain. And in part that's true, but she eventually falls under Ted's charms as well, while helping him heal his own pattern of unworthiness. And that's the beauty of this show. It's all about how we all heal when we seek to be and embody that healing, when we seek to be the holy fool of love in the world. Ted Lasso invites us to step out of our penchant for viewing self-help as like this solitary pursuit, and instead realize it's only by helping others that we will ever learn how to help ourselves. It's only by seeing the inestimable worth of others that we will ever realize our own inestimable worth. Author and counselor Henri Nouwen offers us a practice, a koan of sorts, to contemplate when we get stuck staring down our own demons. He writes, take this as a koan. I am the glory of God. Make that thought the center of your meditation so that it slowly becomes not only a thought, but a living reality. You are the place where God chose to dwell, he writes, and the spiritual life is nothing more or less than to allow that space to exist where God can dwell, to create the space where God's glory can manifest itself. In your meditation, you can ask yourself, where is the glory of God? If the glory of God is not there where I am, where else can it be? And I would modify that just a little bit to make the koan this. You are the glory of God. You are the glory of God, which means I am too. Or if you want an earworm, you can just sing, I'm amazing, incredible. I'm a miracle, a dream come true. I'm marvelous, I'm beautiful. Guess what? So are you. And that doesn't mean we're better than anyone. As Keb Mo reminds us, it simply means we have a responsibility to be amazing, to step into our grandeur as God's holy, worthy, and innocent children. We've seen the grandiosity of the ego at work in our own lives. It convinces us that we're the wonder kid. We can do no wrong. It convinces us to compete, to strive for some fleeting glory in this world, when what we truly are is God's glory personified. Jubilants, how would it change the way you lived if you saw the glory of God walking around in every single person you meet, think about, hear about? How would it change the way you lived if seeing that glory of God all around you, you finally realized that's what's in you too? You are the place God has chosen to dwell. And God also dwells within everyone else, no matter what your ego tells you to think about. As Harrison Warren concludes in her New York Times column, this is the gift of Ted Lasso. In a time when our culture is marked by outrage, division, and cynicism, Ted Lasso calls us back to humility. He asks us to lighten up a little, to not take ourselves so seriously. In doing so, he reminds everyone he encounters, including us watching at home, of our shared humanity, and I would add, our shared divinity. We are all, she writes, in the end, not winners or losers, successes or failures, pure heroes or villains, but people who long to be known, loved, and delighted in. Isn't that what we all want? Just to be known, to be loved, to be delighted in. And if you want that, the only way to get it is to give it away. Course in Miracles says thoughts never leave the mind of the maker. We just extend it. A miracle is us extending that love. And if you want to be known, if you want to be loved, if you want to be delighted in, that's how you treat every person that crosses your mind, that crosses your path. Because when we can embrace our own Ted Lasso and seek to know, love, and delight in everyone we meet, everyone we think of, that's when the whole world gets to say, oh yeah. I really think this show is genius. I do. Because it could have gone down the toxic positivity road, you know? It could have just showed Ted in his little apartment, la la la, my wife left me, it's fine. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. But you get to see what we all are. We can go out and be the holy fool in the world and still be alone with our demons. And as the Buddhist teaching tells us, we all have them. But what if we saw the inestimable worth of our demons? What if we loved them too? There's precedent for that. The Buddha himself talks about having tea with his demons. He calls the demons Mara. And even when the Buddha was enlightened, Mara would still come around. Isn't that nice to know? You can get enlightened, but your demons, they're still going, I'll just be over here, because there's going to be an opening in a minute, and I'm going to be right there. I'm going to make you doubt. I'm going to make you worry. Yeah, you think you're so enlightened. You just wait. And the Buddha would say, when those thoughts arose in his own mind, he would say, oh, Mara, is that you? I'm sorry, Mara. It's spelled differently. It's M-A-R-R-A. You go, oh, Mara, is that you? Is that you? Come. Sit for a minute. Let's have some tea. When you can even say to your demons, oh, there you are. There you are. I see you. I love you, even you. Of inestimable worth, my little demon. And I think that's what Ted Lasso teaches, especially when he got into therapy. The therapist was a hoot. I thought for sure she was a lesbian. Doggone. I wanted her to be. I want all smart, beautiful women to be lesbians. That's just all there is to it. But we find out she's not. But she was kind of standoffish, and she was just like, oh, yeah, that's just a cover. But even she understood that Ted, even with his prog mess, a work in prog mess, he was still making progress. And that's the point. I'd like you to bring somebody to mind that you don't think is worthy. Should be easy. Should be easy. And I want you to give them a miracle right now. Because a miracle is just an extension of love. Bring that person to mind. See them clearly. And send them love. You can use the loving kindness meditation. May you have peace. May you have joy. May you feel safe. May you feel loved. Just send them love. That's the miracle. All minds are joined. On some level, they will feel it. May not change outward behaviors, but on some level they will feel it. And if you do this work long enough, it may not ever change them, but I guarantee it will change you. It will change how you walk in the world. You will see them of inestimable worth. And you will think, if they are that worthy, then so am I. I'm amazing. I'm incredible. I'm a miracle, a dream come true. I'm marvelous. I'm beautiful. Guess what? So are you. Breathe deeply. The folks who support Jubilee Circle are amazing, incredible, beautiful, because it keeps us going, keeps us here in this building, it keeps us able to broadcast and put our message out into the world. And if this is valuable to you, then I invite you to give as well. You can go online if you're out there in TV land. You can go online to jubileecircle.com, and you can give through PayPal. You can give through Square. You can give through Venmo. And if we'll pass the basket around the room, and some people give online. And if you're in the room and you don't have cash, there's a QR code, handy little QR code. You can do what you need to do with that. And we thank you so much for everyone who has supported us. And you can also send us a check, Post Office Box 4611, Columbia, South Carolina 29240. And let me give some announcements before we dismiss our online viewers, and then we'll have a little discussion here in the room. Coming up next Sunday, May 21st, Deb Varn will be bringing the message, and I'm going to be up in Asheville. Our mothership folks, the Jubilee in Asheville, had to sell their building, because COVID has hit everybody hard. So they have sold their building in downtown Asheville, and they'll be meeting in their new place. They're renting some space from a school, and I'm going to be their first speaker after their new move. Woo, there's no pressure. But if you're in the Asheville area, come see me next Sunday up there at Jubilee. Oh, it's beautiful. I love Asheville. So our next event here in the living room will be Wombat Junction. They're going to be here Friday, May 26th. Also on June 2nd will be the Green Swamp Collective, which is a Sumter, South Carolina-based band, a little bit country, a little bit folksy, and they're going to take up our whole stage. There's lots of people in that band. And BYOB for all of those events. Our monthly after-dinner cabaret went really well. Last Tuesday we had a full room, so we're going to do it again June 13th and June 15th. The tickets are $20 for that. Again, BYOB for all of that. The Columbia Light Opera Society is going to be doing Gilbert and Sullivan's Trial by Jury. They're going to do a 3-day run, so they'll be on a Friday night, a Saturday night, and then a Sunday afternoon matinee. $10 at the door for all of those except for the cabaret, which is $20. Soundy School every Sunday at 10:30, and Course in Miracles discussion group on Wednesdays at 7:30. And I am trying something brand new. I'm going to offer a 6-week-long coaching course on my Awaken method, For anyone who's feeling stuck on the spiritual path, we're going to do this virtually. There is a link there, hopefully on your lyric sheet. You can go and check it out. We're going to do it on some Saturday afternoons, hour and a half long for 6 weeks. And pricing and all the fun stuff is there in your bulletin. Did I mention? Yeah. 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 Yeah, the early bird ticket is $197, which is like $33 per session. So it's a doggone good deal. So, so join us for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right. So we're going to have a little discussion here in the building. For you watching us on YouTube, we're going to dismiss you, let you get on with your Sunday. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will be here next time at the same time, 11:15 on Sunday. And remember, if the only prayer you ever say in your entire life is thank you, it will be enough. And so together we say thank you, and we say, oh yeah.